It is time for your Win podcast for super busy professionals sharing transformational moments. Your host, Chu Tang.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Your Win podcast. Today, I have my special guest, Michelle, with us. Welcome, Michelle.
Hi, nice to be here too.
Thank you, Michelle. So I only have one question for this really short podcast. What is your transformational moment that you experienced in life that changed your life forever from that point on?
Well, there's been a lot of transformational moments. I'm just going to repeat the one that happened recently. So I've been working at fine-tuning a lot of my message, and I've been working, period, at being more of an inspirational speaker and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
My work in the world, well, and of course, everyone wants to do it in the right way. I want to do it in the right way, make sure that it fits in more than one modality, and it's heard.
Mm-hmm.
And I was working with a client, and she has her own business, and we work on her empath stuff, we work on her balance stuff, we work on her energetics and identity stuff, but then we also work on her business stuff because she is very business driven, and so am I. So
Yep.
we've been doing this for a while, and it's not really under the auspices of business coaching or training or consulting, but my original career was all in that.
Oh, okay.
So I'm listening to her, and I'm like, this is your sweet spot. It's here. It's doing this and this. And I'm like, why are you doing this other thing that you're doing? Can you please explain to me why you're choosing to build the business that you think you're going to sell someday?
Mm-hmm.
And that, she looks at me, she goes, well, there's only two things that I can do to have my own. Why would anyone want to get into business and build their own thing? I'm going to build my own engineering firm. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I have an astute lawyer who's helping me with this. And then I stopped her. I go, hold on a second. I said, your sweet spot is over here.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you doing everything in this other lane, in this other formula, and none of it is working out at all because someone told you to do that, and because that's how everybody has done it before you to do that. So my point to her was, oh my God, you're missing the point here. You have so much knowledge and so much ability and so much potential. You are not using, you're limiting what you're doing to something that's been created before, to someone who helps other people create in this way, where you're creating in a much bigger way. Your impact is bigger than what has already been determined by society as a business model. You need to completely think outside that box and make it in a way that supports where your genius is. Not, let me do this nitty gritty building of a business that she hates doing because she's getting the advice, the high level coaching consulting advice to do that. So as I'm telling her, I'm like, I said, now I know why I'm working with you. I said, because I have done that same thing myself, whereas my message is bigger, broader, and it's not like there are certain business concepts and like there's people doing coaching and consulting that are doing great work, but they are not necessarily thinking outside the box at all. So they take this like beautiful thing that you can build and that you can share, and they stuff it in a little box of saying, this is how you get it out in the world.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I'm like, why am I listening to people who don't have the wherewithal to even know what I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
that want to take what I'm doing and make it fit this formula over here. When I can tell you very, very clearly, that's not my formula. Like, but I've done it myself because building and growing a business, you're looking for some formula that you don't necessarily have. You might think somebody else has it, and sometimes they do, right? Or they have pieces of it.
Yep.
But unless they are completely in line with where your genius is, what you do needs to be customized to where you shine the best and have the most impact. Outside of revenue, we're talking impact. You know what I mean? So revenue is one way of measuring that impact. There are other ways of measuring it as well. And it's where is my area of genius? Where's your area of genius? How do we like shine instead of doing things that completely derail our joy?
Yep.
So
Well said. Well said.
thank you. Yes.
I totally resonate with that because I was in that path only recently, and I wake up saying, "Why am I doing this?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I understand full well that, you know, when you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to accomplish something, you're not necessarily working with a set script of things that you should or could do, and it doesn't necessarily lead to where you want it to lead. So finding that formula is a little bit challenging, but sometimes we give away our power and we think somebody else knows. And unless they're at the same wavelength of us, unless they can appreciate where we're at and who we are, their formula is just a formula that they followed before.
Yeah.
Completely. And it may not work for us. So by the time, and I read this other thing, and I'm totally agree with that too. By the time someone puts to market what they're doing for other people to copy, it may or may not work for you. This is what worked for them.
Yeah.
So finding, you know, and in the beginning, you're looking around, you're looking for ideas, you're looking for what fits you, what doesn't fit you. But looking at this as impact is more like what you value. Impact, success is more than like, make sure you're on the same wavelength with that person, what success actually looks like.
Yeah. Success is very different for everybody. We have to know what success is for ourselves. Yeah. Wow. Well said. I didn't expect this type of transformational moment.
Well, I didn't expect it either. So when it showed up, I was like, I'll be darned. I am like, oh my gosh. Like, it's just the difference between creating something that is in line with all of who you are versus listening to like almost that discernment. Who am I talking to? Is this person on a similar wavelength to me? Or what type of reality are they trying to pull me into? Because my reality, in my reality, anything is possible. Anything is probable. Like, it's incremental what you can do, and then it's quantum what you can do. Like, so I don't diminish where we can go and what we do. And I think when we try to measure it by money or followers or when we limit what that is as evidence of, oh yes, I'm a successful person, I've reached this plateau of success, we have to be really careful that we're not blind what actually we could reach and limiting ourselves to just that. Okay, this is the goal I need to meet in order for me to check that box or for me to feel that I'm a success. Whereas we can feel like a success every single day as long as we're really following where we're being guided to step into, and it brings us joy.
Right. So will you say that sometimes your gut feeling will tell you that?
You're going to know if it doesn't fit you.
Okay.
part of you is going to be screaming at
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, if you can recognize that,
Yeah.
as opposed to saying, oh, I can't do it. I can't, like, instead of
Yeah.
seeing yourself as not stepping into that and there's something wrong with you, there's something wrong with that.
That,
That
right.
is not where my next step is. It's over here. So, but sometimes we just don't see the lay of the land enough to know. Like this woman thought she had two choices and she was going to pick, it wouldn't make sense to her to do, it would make sense for her to do one of these two things. I'm like, you're missing a whole other slew of options that are right here.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't see it because it hasn't been like the label of approvals. It hasn't been done before, been in your world. So you think, or you're kind of chasing that level of success. Let me show you what success could look like for you. Because you're going to feel it as soon as you step into it. But she didn't have a role model for that. So that, in my opinion, like if I go into 3D, 4D, 5D, which a lot of my clients and my people know about vibration and know about consciousness, we are creating in so many more powerful ways than what a 3D model of success looks like. So this was a lesson for me to let that initiative that I have, let it soar, let it fly, let it be whatever it is, and stop trying to like play it safe, play in the little box. This is my little play box. This is how it goes. So
yeah. Oh, wow. I feel better listening to this actually. Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much. Yeah. So any last thoughts, wisdom for the audience?
you have to learn to follow your heart. If you can't follow your heart and then listen to what the heart's saying, not what your mind, listen to your heart. Where is that leading you? And yep, there are some really strong logical things that we need to do in life, right? To provide, to support ourselves in whatever we do. But if we're not following our heart and we're not really in touch with what that heart is, there's more fear there than there is love. Really have a muddy channel and things are going to look really fuzzy and really unclear to us until we step into more of that and learn more and then step more into it and then more. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
You guys like this episode, come back, and until then, stay happy and hopeful. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Wow, that was really, really good. a lot to think about for myself. So what do you think of the podcast format?
I think that was really cool.
Mm.
I like that. It's just it's a hit. It's almost like getting a sweet treat. Here is a sweet treat you're gonna have for today, and this is it. You 5-10 minutes, you get that sweet treat, you get that wisdom, whatever you can relate to, you know about that person, you learn, and then you step back. And then if they want to know more, I assume this is going into something in the back end of things, or
they could reach out to you.
oh, okay. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, they could reach out to you and to learn more. Yeah. So talking about that, I'm always curious, what is the story behind coming up with the name Empath Evolution?
That's a question. Well, at the age of 40, I discovered quite by accident, my life turned upside down and inside out. Not on the outside, but on the inside. I was going through a lot of, I don't know. I always thought I had a pretty good handle on my life. I always thought I could see the lay of the land, and I followed what I was doing. But when I was 40, I ran into a situation that I really couldn't wrap my head around. Long story short, I figured out I was very empathic.
Wow.
And then I figured out what that meant for me. And I saw that a lot in the world. I'm like, and people don't know they're very empathic.
I didn't know until I met you.
And I'm like, and what does that mean for people? It means that you're really more in touch with energies, vibrations, the emotions that people feel, but they don't say, who people are versus how they like to show up. Like, you're in tune with what's underneath the surface. And you positively impacted, negatively impacted. You can lose yourself because you don't necessarily know that this is happening. So as much as I'm very logical and whatnot, I'm like, there was 30 traits of an empath. And I'm like, oh my God, I have almost all 30 traits of an empath. And the number one trait of an empath is people tell you their stories. They're able to open up and tell you
the story.
And why would anybody do that, even to a perfect stranger, unless something was calling, was happening? So that was me awakening. And then Empath Evolution was because I feel that every single one of us is being called to notice, look at, amplify, embrace the subtle, the emotional connection that we have with ourselves and with one another. We need to get deeper and deeper into what we are and who we are. So there's the evolution part of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to come up with the names?
You know, I had this amazing coach. She had it all formulated. Who are you working with and what are you doing? And then it was so supported that I just played it and I played it and I played it and I played and I played it. And then I reduced it down and then I reduced it. Then Empath Evolution was like, well, that's my name, Empath Evolution.
Yeah, it's very powerful, but also very short, which is good. Yeah. Wow. Wow. Thank you so much, Michelle. I didn't know that I was an empath until I took your survey. And then after that, I learned to accept who I am much better, because the people around me, right, who are not empath, they were like, oh, you're too sensitive. Oh, you care too much, all that. But now I'm learning to embrace it.
Well, and that's the thing. Until you really see that part of you, until you see it, you might think there's something wrong.
Wrong, yes.
I don't know why. I'm happy, then I'm sad, then I'm crying. Now I'm not in the mood to go here or there. Like, why are my moods doing what they're doing? And, it's not necessarily everyone's experience to that degree, but a lot of times, because we can feel what other people are going through, we can tend to like absorb the negativity, take on more, because we don't want to hurt people, right? We don't want to necessarily, we see where their wounds are. And then it's almost like being a little too open.
Yeah. But
it's not any work for me to be and to feel. It's just a matter of how am I using that? How do what comes with that? And there's, some responsibility over, I can magnify energies, make them awesome, or I can, what's good for me versus what's good for another person, and setting those boundaries. But at the same time, I know so many empaths that are so gifted. And once they know what they're sensing and they're feeling, they can really soar and do their work in the world in a completely different fashion. So it's knowing what your strengths are, not necessarily that you're too sensitive. How is that sensitivity a gift to you? Like, what is the strength behind that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, but so we don't necessarily go to school to learn that.
No, they don't teach that in school. No way. Wow. Thank you so much for this inspiring conversation. Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share. See you soon at Your Win Podcast.